Let's see. Hi. Who's out there? Say hi. Okay, let's see. Hi. Okay, let me put something up real quick here. How are you doing out there? Hey, Karen. How are you? From Michigan. How are you doing? Let's see. So as you come in, say hello and say where you're from. And just trying to, let's see. Get everything set up here as people come on board. Okay. Looks like there's 11 people. Say hello. Sarah from Texas, hey. Barb, hello. How are y'all doing? Good, I hope. Let's see, I want to see if I can, the secret formula from Georgia. Hey, I'm in Georgia too. How you doing? Ben Davis, hey, how you doing? Where you at in Georgia? I'm in North Georgia. Hey, Tyler. Dar, how you doing? Sweet. You're in Atlanta. Okay, I'm just a couple hours north of you. Let's see what I'm trying to do here. So as people come in, hey Ken. So as people come in, I'll get started. So hi from Denmark. Hello. How are you? Barb's in New York. Ivan in Denmark. What's the weather like there right now? You're from Chatsworth. Okay, yeah, that's not too far from me. Awesome. So I hope you were able to grab the chord and lyric sheet that I have in the pinned post there. If you haven't, take a minute and go grab that. And you can probably put it up on your screen if you're like tech savvy, because that's what we're going to work off of. Ben is in Auburn. Hey, awesome. But that's what we're going to work off of tonight for this song. And we're going to go through the whole thing, and we're going to go through the chords. We're going to go through a simple break for it. And you will, I'm also going to do a little quick intro. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So grab that when you get a chance. Let me make sure I'm okay. And just anytime, go ahead and let me know how everything is being viewed. You know, if you're seeing things okay, or if I get lost, or you know, you don't hear me anymore or anything like that. So first, what we'll do is we're gonna look at. I'm teaching this in the key of G, but right now I have it. I have the capo on, so I'm going to be playing it in A for just a moment, just because John usually sings this, so it's harder for me to sing it in G, but it'll be the same shapes as in G while I'm playing it, but I'm just kind of going to do a little intro here for you, and then after that intro, then we'll get into it, and I'll take the capo off and make sure we're in G and everything. Pulling up my little things that I have here. Okay, so get your banjos in tune if you haven't already. Me being in this cold basement, my tuning goes a little haywire from coming from upstairs, where it's nice and warm with the wood stove up there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play my little intro, and I'll go through one verse of it, and it kind of has a chorus within the verse, and then I will play my little break for it, and then I will break it down for you and do all that. And first we'll just start with the chords. Okay, so here we go. It came upon a midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay, to hear the angels sing. All right, so I went through that whole first verse chorus piece, and then I did my little break. So now I'm going to go back into G, and we will start talking about all the chords and everything going on there. Making sure everybody still heard me and everything. Did you hear that okay? Hopefully you did. Because that's what we're going to be learning. So there's 3 verses that we do this song at. That we use for it. My 5th string's going a little wonky on me. Okay, so we're gonna work through the chords first. Now, if you'll take a look at that sheet if you can. If not, it's okay. We're gonna talk about all the chords. But first let's talk about the intro, okay? An easy way to do an intro for pretty much every song you do is just to do the last 1 or 2 lines of what you would be singing there at the end of your verse or at the end of your chorus, okay? And in this case, we're going to do what we would sing here would be to hear the angels sing. And that's what I'm doing as my little intro. So it would sound like this for the intro. All right, so all I did there was I went from a C chord to a D7 chord and back to a G chord. Okay, now obviously I'm using a note here. So if you hold your C chord down, so I hit that open first, that open D note, right? And then I hold my C chord down and I hit that first, that E there, right on the 4th string, 2nd fret. So, right? And before I get too far into this, let me say this too. If you don't already know this, this is a 3/4 time song. So that's waltz time, okay? So all of our strumming and everything we do with our chords is going to be basically a single note, right? So if we're thinking about our claw hammer stroke, we're doing a single note and then 2 quick strums after it. So so that's our timing and our rhythm for this, okay? So back to that intro. The last part of the verse there says to hear the angels sing. So we're coming from a G chord before, so we hit it open. We hit that 4th string open, and then we hit it there with the C chord, and then we do our 2 strums for that C chord, and then go up 2 frets, so, right, up 2 frets, and then we go back down, right, and we hit that note again, so. Then we hit it open. So all that's on the 4th string, okay? So we start out with an open 4th string, and then we do the C chord, go up 2 and back, and then open, okay? And then we have one more note to play, and that's an open 3rd string, okay? So that sounds like this. Okay, I hope that made sense to you, and let me know if it didn't. And then we will start talking about the chords here for each verse, because I've got some things that I do a little differently to make things easy, right? And it's, you know, you can play a song through, and you can play every chord as written, and it'll sound wonderful. But you can also make things easier on yourself, right? You can do partial chords, and you can do chords where you're maybe not playing all the notes of the chord, but you're playing some of them, like a partial chord, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to do two bar chords, okay? And so in the first verse there, if you can see that, if you can't, that's okay. We're going to talk about it. But we've got, it came upon a midnight clear. That's a G, right? We've got it came, right? And then when we go to it upon, that's a C. A midnight clear. Okay, so it. So that's how that first line would go, right? So we've got a G, and then to a C, and then to a G again, which is simple. You probably already know that, okay? Then we run into the second line where it says that glorious song of old, okay? We run into, we start out on a C, then we run into an A7 chord. Now an A7 chord looks like that, okay? So there's a pinky there, right, at the 5th fret. But if you just don't play the bottom string, you can just play your regular A bar chord, and it's not going to sound bad at all, okay? And you just do it for just a couple little strokes, like that, and you can't even tell that it's not there. You can't even tell that that note is not there. So when we run into that A7 chord, we can turn that into an A, and it sounds just fine, okay? Now, back to our D7 chord, that's the next chord. That's a really easy 2-finger chord. So we can just play that like regular there. And then when it goes into kind of what I call the chorus, Peace on the Earth, it says B7, and you go, how do I make a B7? This is another time where you have a bar chord and it starts at the 4th fret. Okay, the A is at the 2nd fret, right? The B is at the 4th fret, okay? So this, again, we would do the same thing. We would have that pinky stretch down there on the 1st string. So instead of doing that, I'm shortening and playing a partial chord, just a B chord instead of the 7th chord, okay? So you can lift up that pinky and just play that B like that, and it sounds great when you're playing it, okay? So it's good to, obviously, if you can easily get the chord, play the chord, you know, as it was intended. But if it's more difficult for you, you can always shorten things out. I've also seen this where they don't even play the C a lot. They keep it the G chord rolling there. But I like the sound of it, okay? So the only other chord that you're going to see is an E minor. And an E minor is easy. You know that. You just lift up your index finger off of your C chord and you've got an E minor, right? So before I go any further, are there any questions about our chord progression at all in this? Oh, that worked. So just let me know. 2 chords from you are my sunshine and youth. Yeah. But let me know if any of those chords, if you have a question about them or anything like that. I will do this a lot when I'm playing. I will make things easier on myself. There's nothing wrong with that. So never be afraid to do that. Okay, and then this window here. All right, so if you didn't have any questions on those chords, I'll go ahead and get into the break for you. But we can play through the chords. So let's do that also. Let's do that right now, since there's no questions that I see popping up. Okay. My G is off a little bit again. All right. So to start this song out, I'm going to do that intro again. So that intro, we do the open, 4th, and then we start. It came upon a midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in song stillness lay, to hear the angels sing. Okay, so that's going through the chord structure. Now, one thing to talk about here is when you're going from like a G, since one of the melody notes is that B, which is our 2nd string open, I like to start that when I'm playing the chords. Just hitting that open D note at the 4th string, and then the open B note. So, so when I go to the C, you'll hear me use my open G string, the open 3rd string. And then when I go back, I use the open, when I'm going back to the G, I use the open 4th string, the open D string. So you can walk around within your chords as you're playing them. Been working on your version of Away in a Manger. I'm this close to having it in my my muscle memory. That's great. That's awesome, Karen. So, so when you're playing that waltz style, just like if you were playing a 4/4 song, I like to play an alternating back and forth kind of thing. It sounds really good, and I like to use for that step 1, that single note. So different sounds our G chord makes when we use the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th string as that 1st note. There's a lot of different sounds you can make with it, okay? And if you're new coming in here, go ahead and back this up to the beginning, okay? I also want to take a moment and mention that I have a good special at my website right now, the Christmas special, where I have for $99, you can get a year at my website, and that is $55 off the regular price, okay? And then I also have a 6 lesson pack special, one-on-one lessons with me, 6 hours of it, and a free year. So you can check that out at my website in the shop, banjolemonade.com, if you're interested in any of that. Now, this is another thing. You need to watch my gear guide video. Below the video, I have the links to all the codes, okay? So if you haven't bought everything yet that you're going to get for Christmas and you want some musical gear, there's all kinds of codes in there for money off, right? So check out my Christmas gear guide. Okay? Let's see. Now, I don't see any more questions. So, let's go to back to the song. Okay, so when you start that out, I like to hit, as I said, Ken, great stuff. Practice and try to play it for my wife. That's awesome. We're going to get into the break here in just a second, too. So, when you're just going from those one chord to another, you don't always have to stay on that same, 3, 4, right? Don't be afraid to hit that second string as well. And of course, would you believe it, I broke my picking nail off. So if I sound a little muddy, that's probably why. My picking nail, I just broke it off, unfortunately. But all right, so let's talk about that again real quick before we go into that. So I like to start out, even while somebody's singing, with those first couple of notes, right? So that's the D note there at the 4th string and the B note at the open 2nd string. And then I do my, right? Because that it is a pickup note. That's why we have an extra note there. I hope you understand that. So, now, I like to center my breaks around whatever is being sung. It's just the easiest thing for me to do with my ear, right? It's very, I'm not going to say it's easy, but once you learn to play by ear, the easiest thing to do is just follow what is being sung and play what is being sung, okay? So I'm just going to do this with my thumb here for you and talk you through the notes, all right? So you heard me play that earlier. Let me just play the break one time here, and then I'll talk you through it. Okay, so that's the notes we want to hit, right? And all I did was I walked through all the way from it came over to touch their harps of gold, and I kind of stopped there because that's kind of the natural chorus part, right? That's coming up next. So, and that was my intro. And as you probably can hear, that intro is the same thing I play at the end, right? It's the end of the break, because that's something that's easy to do, okay? So when you're looking at these songs, first off, obviously you want to get the time signature right, which I already said this is 3/4 time, right? But secondly, when you see chords, and Christmas songs are just notorious for having tons of chords and chord changes constantly. And this one's pretty good. It doesn't have as many as I've seen in some. But one thing that you should understand, and a lot of beginners don't really understand this, you can remove chords, okay? these arrangements can be simplified by removing some of the chords, okay? So I'm not going to get too much into that tonight, but with Christmas songs, you can find easier arrangements. And I have some of them on my website for you. So when we start, if you're trying to learn something by ear and you're trying to learn your break by ear, you can just sit here with your thumb and work out the notes, right? You can do that. And how do I work out the notes? Well, there's a couple of ways to do that. One way is to know it by ear by what they're singing, right? So you go da 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 da, right? That's one way. Another way is to look at the chords that are being played and know that the notes are within the chord, okay? So if we look at our chord shape, so I would start out by going, it came, right? That's the 4th string open and the 2nd string open. Then I'm going into upon, right? And I need to have my C chord, right? Because that's next. So I put my C chord down. And the very next note, so it goes, is an open 3rd string, right? And when you're in your C, your 3rd string is open. So I hope you could see that. Let me know if you couldn't. But what we do is we hit the notes 4, 2, right? Then we put our C down and we hit the open G there, the open 3rd string. Right? So what I'm doing there is all I'm doing is after I hit that open G note, I'm hitting the A note below the A note. So I'm just lifting up my middle finger from the C chord and putting it down right there on the 3rd string. So then open, then back to our C, okay? So that's how it starts. And then we're back to our G. All right? So. Right? And we're just hitting that D note open. Right? Now we're going to the 2nd line where it's da, da, that glorious song of old, right? And we start out with a C. Da, 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 whoop, da, da. Right? So now what we do is we go from that C, we put the C down, then we hit the open 3rd string, then the open 2nd string, then we're back into our D7 chord, right? So then we hit the 2nd fret of our 3rd string, right? So from the top, I'm going to do it slowly. Okay, I hope you can hear the song, the melody in that as well. Okay, so now, the next line down, we have the same chord progression, C, G, C, right? So we're going to do the same thing. Now, here, I like to do the open, and you can do this in the first one too if you want, but we do the open 4th string, where we do it 3 times. You can do, okay? So that would sound like this: from angels bending near the earth. From angels bending near the earth. Okay? Hope that made sense to you, right? So I'm going to play it. I'm going to play those first 3 lines, right? So here we go. these chords, right? Now, we've only got one more line to go, and it goes C, D7 to G, to touch their harps of gold. So we do our open D again, and get into our C. Da, da, da. Up 2, back 2, open, and then open, third string, and that's that G note, right? So, okay, now you go, all right, well, Mandy, I picked out the melody, okay, for my break. Now, how do I make it sound musical and add in the brushes that we do, right? So you just time it the same way, basically. And the way you do that is you just practice going through it, right? So you're going to end up on a G chord, and that's where you start your break, right? And you're just going to come in, right? You can do those because you have space there, okay? So you do those strums there at the end of Midnight Clear, right? And you can do it in between. It came upon a midnight clear, right? You have room to do that. Now we're going to that second line. That glorious. So everything revolves around the chords, right? So when you're coming up with these breaks by ear, it's really good to hold down your chord while you're doing it, and you'll find those notes within it, within that chord somewhere. And that open G string, right? That's the same as our that's a note in your what am I saying? So you've got your 3 notes of your chord, in other words, in your C. Your E, your G, your C, right? And that E repeats right here on the, so you're like your 2nd fret there of your 4th and your 1st, that's the same note, which you probably know that, and your G is just, you're getting your G on that open string there, okay? All right, so each time you're doing these breaks, because, you know, I'm trying to teach you this song, yes, but I'm also trying to teach you how to do other songs, right? You get those notes within your chords, okay? They're there, all right? So if I go slowly through the break again, let me scoot up a little bit, and I'm gonna scoot up on my hands here, so you can just really see what I'm doing here at the on the frets. Okay, so what you can do is you'll be able to see this again, and you can go back and look at it. Yes, Baker had said Christmas songs are notoriously tough. They are. And a lot of people dread them. A lot of musicians kind of dread the Christmas songs just because of how difficult they are, but you can make them easier. Not all of them, but a lot of them you can make easier. We are going to do, this Sunday night, we're going to do, I want to say 10 songs at church. So we're going to have a special program Sunday night and do 10 songs where we sing and play for everybody. And we've got our set list and everything ready. And it's going to be cool. All right, so I've showed you the chords and the chord progression and how to do that, right? I've showed you a quick little intro. Does anybody need more on the intro, the break, going through the chords? You know, does anybody want more on that? Again, you're going to be able to go back and, you know, review this anytime you want. In the future, I'm going to be having some members only lessons, members of my website, where they will be able to view it, but they won't be public on YouTube. I'm going to have some of those. I'm going to have workshops coming up that you can get in where it'll be, I will do some song workshops where I teach a specific song, and it'll be just like we've done here, where I go through the chords. I first play the song, go through the chords, show you how to get through it, where you're singing and playing the chords, how to do that rhythmically there with that particular song, and then do an instrumental break, and then come back to playing the chords while somebody sings, that sort of thing. But a lot of my workshops are going to be more, not necessarily a single song, in other words. They're going to be on concepts and things like that that people want. But what'd you think? Was it okay? I'm working on getting a webcam that I can use where I'll be able to do 2 different shots and be able to switch from one to the other. So I could have one just showing my left and right hand and the banjo, and the other one where I could talk to you and interact and stuff without moving, sort of thing. But hey Lori, this is a banjo. I'm kidding. Lori plays dulcimer. Hope you're doing well. All right, so but yeah, if you, especially with those Christmas songs, you can, a lot of times you can take out chords to make them easier. So another thing, let's say you're like me, John would be normally the lead singer on this song, and I would just be coming in on the choruses singing backup. So I wouldn't play this if I was singing it by myself. I would not play it in G. I would be capoed up, but I would be using all the same shapes because that's easy, because I already know it in G, right? So do things that are easy for yourself, you know? People sometimes will make things too hard for themselves, okay? There's no reason to do that. At any level, you can be playing a lot of songs and playing breaks and all sorts of things, you know, really simply, and they sound really nice. That was not a very difficult little instrumental break there, but it sounds really nice, especially if you have a couple of musicians going, you know. But you can still keep that melody and chord going at the same time, like I was showing you there, by adding in some of those brushes. Other than that, I guess we're done. I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. And again, if you have not checked out my gear guide video, please check that out. Go down and look in the description of the video for all those codes from lots of great places, okay? For Banjo, especially Banjo Ben, right? I got a 10% off code from Banjo Ben Clark's store. So all those accessories, all kinds of banjo gear over there you can grab for 10% off if you use my code. I also have some Amazon stuff like my favorite strings, stuff like that. But he's got a lot of good stuff over there. I actually have to do a little bit more shopping on that, using that code as well. But, oh, hey! I love you guys. Hey, Sean. Hey, Christy. Don't make me cry. I love you guys so much. I hope you're doing good. But I want to read you some scripture before I leave, right? Because it's Christmas. So let me pull that up and dry my eyes a little bit. So if you remember, which, you know, you probably do. If you remember the Charlie Brown Christmas special on TV, you probably remember Linus reading from scripture. And he's talking about the true meaning of Christmas. And so Charlie Brown doesn't know what the true meaning of Christmas is, and Linus is going to tell him. So this is what he reads. He reads from Luke chapter 2, okay? So Luke chapter 2, I'm a little choked up here. Luke chapter 2, verse 8 through 14 is what I'm going to read, okay? Here we go. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host praising God, and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. Whoo! Amen. I love that. So I hope you'll keep Jesus real close to you this time of year and every day, really. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it. And I guess I'm going to just sign off here. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching me all these years and, you know, just kind of following along and allowing me to just show you what I've learned over the years. I love it. Thank you very much. God bless you and have a very Merry Christmas. Bye-bye, y'all.